pjnet.tv, 9:30 East Coast time in the United States. We're ready to have some fun. We've got a bumper running, yes. Recording, check. Streaming, oh yeah, we're streaming. And the titles are correct, I think, this time. And Michelle's waiting. She's got plenty to tell us. And the chat room's waiting for Michelle. So let's count down to Studio 11, the Lavender Girly Studio thing. Kind of, you know. Well, good evening. Welcome to pjnet.tv. The Royal Lavender Studio 11 is our setting tonight because we have two young ladies who have blessed us. We've already been blessed tonight, but we're only getting started. More to come because Michelle has been, well, she hasn't prepped me. And this is always unscripted, folks, always. But a lot of times I'll get some heads up as to what's on your mind. But I was saying as we closed the last segment, I was looking through Facebook today. Do you have any pictures of your grandchildren that you like to share?
I mean, I might have a couple hundred. I always said I would never be one of those crazy grandmothers who, you know, look at all these pictures of my kids and my grandkids, and I can scroll for hours. They're just so cute, Coach. What are you going to do? They're just adorable. But I got to spend a whole 4 days with we called it a girls' weekend. It was Abby, my oldest daughter, and her daughter, Bo Riley, who is turned 2 in December. And then, so she's my little grand girl. And then Allison, my youngest daughter, and her little girl, Ren, who will be 2 in May. So the cousins got to play together all weekend, and Abby and Allie, they rarely get to get away without the guys, because I have 2 grandsons too, right? But we left them with their daddy, and we just had a girls' weekend in Gatlinburg. We went to Pigeon Forge and we shopped. You know, I had to buy cute outfits for the little kids, and we went to the aquarium, the cutest. It was the most amazing aquarium. We loved it. And then we went to a place called Goats on the Roof. Oh my goodness, we got to feed goats. You feed them right out of your hand. They were so cute. And they actually come down off a roof. I mean, they come down there when they see you with the feed, and they pay $3 for the feed or whatever. And then the refills are only $1. Those goats were so bloated by the time we left. They didn't want any more feed ever. We fed them for like 2 hours. Yeah. And the kids were fascinated, but I was just as fascinated. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I love to feed the goats. So that was really fun.
Yeah, they're probably diabetic at this point. You know,
I mean, I'm telling you, those were some bloated goats when we left, but we had the best time. Just fellowshipping, just being mom, daughters, and granddaughters, and I got some good Gigi time in, so I loved it. It was really a blast.
How was the weather?
Perfect. We had perfect weather. It was a little chilly the first day, but then it was, in the high 60s and sunny the whole time. Really could ask for better weather, and we just had a great time. I mean, we just don't get to do that enough, and I left all the responsibilities here, all the boxes and everything, and it was all waiting for me when I got back. So there you go. I'm hit the ground running when I got home. But I think it's important that we take advantage of those opportunities where you can make memories and just spend. I mean, really, some of the best moments were just my granddaughters love the Itsy Bitsy Spider song. I mean, that's old school, right? Like, I know that one. That's good. So we sang that like 9 million times. And my Bo Riley will always say, Piter, Gigi, Piter, which means put the spider song on my phone, and then we'll do it. And then we were at Blake Shelton's restaurant eating our first meal there, and I look over and Allison's little girl, Ren, when the music hits her, I mean, she just has to get her groove on, and she's over there just giving it one of these and like dancing. We were all just dying laughing. It's just those are just fun times. So I'm grateful that we were able to go, and it was just a wonderful, blessed time. I loved it so very much.
Now, you left when, like on a Friday night?
I went down there. So this is the praise report and all of that. I went down there Thursday with Allison and Ren to watch my grandson. Well, actually, Bear, my oldest one that you guys have been praying for.
Oh, yeah.
He'll turn 4 in August. We went down there originally because he had his MRI. He has to have one every 6 months to check on the brain tumor and that he was born with. And so he had that on Friday. So we were there to babysit Boone, the little baby, and then Bo Riley. And so there's MRI came back. We haven't said anything on Facebook yet because I want Abby to be able to announce it the way she likes to. Right. But it came back that there was no change in the tumor. No, it didn't grow. It didn't change borders. that is stable, as they call it, which is the best, other than it being completely gone. Stable is the best thing, so that's good.
Right.
And they did several tests, and everything is, he's just doing great. He's developing great. He is all boy. He is wild and fun and saying lots of words now. So things are really going well there. So that's a praise report, because, you just don't take this for granted. Every 6 months when we know that MRI is coming up, you just pray that it's a good news. And it was very good news. So we celebrated all weekend about that. Thanks for your guys' prayers. We appreciate that.
So that was Thursday?
That was Friday, but we went Thursday because they had to be at the hospital like 7:30 in the morning. Yes, pretty. We knew we couldn't, because it's 3.5 hours. We couldn't drive it that quick. Right. And then we left Friday afternoon with everybody, the whole crew, and we stayed through Monday morning. So much fun, just a blessing. Had favor the whole time we were there. Just such a great time. So yeah, it was good. That's not what I was going to talk about tonight, but thanks for asking me about it. All right,
well, so,
I love to talk to my grandbabies if I can.
Well, in case we run out of time, I have, I kind of watch your Bible study, you and your sister and the other person, and it started today, and I didn't see you turning on the camera and walking back. Were you absent today?
What?
Were you absent today?
Yeah, they taped it on Monday, and I was driving 7 hours that day, so I couldn't be there.
Oh, okay.
Like, we're just gonna have to do it without you, because
Because I didn't watch the rest of it. I figured if you weren't there.
Yeah, I actually said, because I didn't watch the whole thing because I was, got back here and had to work a lot. And I said to my sister, I'm like, you guys should just do that. I mean, because I'm starting to travel again, with things starting to pick up. I'm like, you guys should just do that, and I'll just kind of make guest appearances. My sister's like, no way, you're not getting out of it. I'm like, I don't want to get out of it, but I also realize that I'm not very reliable sometimes, because I am going to be traveling. I've got several things booked already.
You're very reliable to the people to whom you're traveling to go see, because you told them
That's
you'd be
right.
there. So, anyway, you had a topic in mind, but I'll just sit back and have some coffee and some Copenhagen and hear the.
I mean, that's a good duo there, coffee and Coke. Well, what I was going to talk about was just, I think it's appropriate to give a praise report, not just about what happened with my grandson Bear, and I'm so thankful to God that he's just doing great, that Bear's progressing and growing up to be a wonderful man of God that he's going to be, and he's so precious. But also in the last week, God has done something amazing for me, and I think you talked about storms in the last segment, and then how we all go through them, and then the sun comes out again. The sun will come out again, right? Or tomorrow, I think was what the song was in Annie. And that's kind of what happened for me. And I feel like somebody needed to hear this tonight. And I can't share all the details because it's contractual things, but I can share enough that you get the testimony. A couple, 3 weeks ago, well, actually, this starts back around November 30th. I got an email from a publisher friend. She's a senior editor at a publishing house, asking if I would want to ghostwrite a book for someone, and it was a celebrity, and I didn't know him, but I said, sure, yeah, like, I'm up for that. So I looked at his book that he's written for adults, and then they wanted me to take it and like bring it down into like a kid-friendly language, which I've done this for several others, so I know how to do that. And I read through it and I prayed about it, because you don't just want to take an assignment just because it's an assignment. If it's not the one God has for you, then you need to let somebody else take it that God has chosen for that assignment. So I very much understand that not everything is mine, even if it's given to me. I need to pray about it and see if that's what it is. And I really felt like this was I was supposed to do this. And I even talked to one of my mentors in the writing field, and to make sure that she felt like I was the one to write this, because it was about a topic that I didn't really have much knowledge about. And so we talked together, and she assured me that I could handle this, and we prayed together, and so I was ready to go. So I worked on this, even though we were moving and things. I worked on this almost all over the holidays. Just I would pray about it, write a little bit, pray about it some more, look at his book, pray about it some more, and then finally finished it on time in February and turned it in. And I didn't hear anything, which is never. Any writer knows if you don't hear anything, it's like, okay, did they hate it? Maybe they didn't get it. You're just like. So I finally messaged, I'm like, so just making sure you got it. No, we got it. We haven't had a chance to look at it yet. We're just behind, but we'll be back in touch. I'm like, okay, just making sure that, that it actually got there. And then I get a message from the same editor about 3 weeks later and said, hey, can we have a phone call? I'm like, absolutely. Because she's like a good friend of mine. We've been working together for years. And she proceeded to tell me that they loved the story, actually. And I'm like, oh, good. I'm so glad, because you don't always bet 1,000. I didn't know. But that they were going to go with another writer. And, I hadn't been paid or anything yet. I hadn't signed the contract yet. They didn't even ask me to do the whole story. They just asked me to come up with some different story scenarios. That's sometimes how it works. And that's what I did. So I'd written the whole thing, though, because I'm always an overachiever, right? Like I want to like, let me just be over generous and do the whole story, because God gave it to me. So he gave it to me, I just wrote the whole thing. And I knew it was from God. I knew when I hit the send button. I don't always say that everything right, but this one, yep. And they had decided to go with another writer, not because the story wasn't good. They liked the story. And in fact, I don't even know how much of it they're going to change, but it was a preference of this particular celebrity not to use me. And I can't go into all the details, but when it feels really personal, because it is really personal, that's tough. And I'm not going to lie. I took it pretty hard. I mean, I was gracious on the phone, and I didn't, she offered to pay, and I said, no, if I'm not gonna, that's fine. You don't have to pay me. Like, we have a relationship, and I was happy to do it. And even if I'm not the writer on this, and this person has decided not to use me, that I still know that God gave me this story to help kids. So I'm happy to have play any small part in this, whether any of it's used or all of it's used. I don't even care. I'm just glad that God allowed me to be a part of it. And I truly meant that. I did mean that when I said that. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't cry for a good 3 to 6 hours, like off and on. I just kind of, not that I felt sorry for myself. It was just a letdown, because I guess I just didn't understand, Coach. And those, when you're in any profession, you're going to have, like you said, storms. You're going to have things happen that maybe you're not happy about, and some things aren't even going to be fair, and it's out of your hands, and you just have to be true to the calling that God put in your life and walk through those times. And the more I spend time with Jesus, the more I want to be like Jesus, and I try to handle it like he would handle it. I don't always do it right. This time I did better than usual. So maybe there's been some growth there, but I just had to get over it. And I did call Bethany, of course, and cry to her, and she wanted to fight him. I mean, she's like, who is all, give me their number, I'll call them. And she's my buddy. And so she talked me through it. And of course, Jeff was wonderful to me, and my sister. I have a real small inner circle that I call, and just to make sure that I'm not off, and just to have them pray with me and for me. But here's the thing, my sister said, and she said, I know this hurts right now, and it doesn't seem fair. And I know you worked on it hard, because you ignored me for several weeks because you're working on this. But God is the restorer. So whatever you feel has been taken from you, he will restore back to you. That's just who he is. He's even though this may feel like unjust to you, and it appears to be, that's fine, because you did it unto the Lord, and he sees what you did. No one else may ever know, but he sees it, and he'll restore this. He'll make this right. And I believe that, because that's what the word says. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go with that. And so I just began to pray over that. Lord, I thank you that while I spent a lot of time on this, and it really hurts that it didn't turn out the way I thought it would. But Father, I just thank you that I was given the opportunity, and that you open up doors that no man can shut, and that you'll have something else for me. And I really felt like when I was having my private time with God, that the following days that God was saying to me, I mean, he didn't say it in that big booming voice, but that he was saying to me, you don't understand right now why you can't be the writer on this, but I'm protecting you. Like, you don't understand, or I get that you don't get it. And I'm thinking, well, then why did you let me do any of it? But he never explains himself. That's funny. He's funny about that. But I felt like he was protecting me. That's what I felt like he was saying. And that just to hang on, because he was opening up other doors that, had I taken this other assignment, that door wouldn't have been open. I wouldn't have been able to walk through it, because I've been too busy with this other project. So, Coach, this is so great. Things don't always happen just like that. Like, it's not like the restoration always happens overnight, but this one was pretty darn close. 3 days after this whole thing happened, I was at the old house packing, kind of still licking my wounds. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't talking about it anymore, but I would think about it from time to time. And I had my laptop, I had preaching going on, like a podcast preaching, while I was, taking things out of a closet and packing them, putting them away. And I had it on my laptop, and my email went off. Like, that does look like a little bell when I get another email. And I don't always look at it if I'm in the middle of something, but I looked at it, and it was from a different editor at another publishing house. asking me if I was would be open to do some freelance for them. That they had a celebrity client that they needed somebody to ghostwrite a book for. Would I have time on my schedule? And I did know this person, and I love the message that this book has. And I just laughed, and I immediately said absolutely, and I do have time, and I'm so excited to do this. And this is a publisher I've been wanting to get my foot in the door with anyway. I've only done a little bit of work with them, and I really wanted to be on their roster to do freelance work. And I even approached them several times during 2020, not like stalker like, but just to say, hey, just checking in to see if you have any freelance work. And here's some of the things that I can do. Like if you need picture books, if you need, Christian living books, if you need devotionals, these are some of my clients, and these are some of I just sent samples, all this stuff. Kyle kept prompting me to do that. My agent, Kyle kept saying, send that stuff out, just do little touch bases every so often. And then they took a chance on me, and I just found out last night at 11:45 p.m. that I was chosen. So I get to do this book, and it's a quick turn, but it's even for more money. Not that was why I was doing it, but I'm gonna cry. It was so good that like God didn't forget me, So if you are like in a journey where you feel like you've been overlooked or passed over, or even sometimes it feels so unfair, and that maybe you were in the right, or maybe you don't even know why. Sometimes just circumstances happen, and we're never going to know. But God just, he sees it all. And I think the fact that there's so many other bigger things going on in the world, like I'm not the center of the world, I realize that. But sometimes God makes you feel like you're the center of his world, because he just loves you that much that it's like he was saying, you're good enough, Michelle, and I've got another assignment for you. So just hang on. And I just felt so personal, like he was just loving me from heaven. And anyway, I just thought I needed to share that.
Okay. Michelle, a wise person once shared with me and others, all that is good is not necessarily of God.
Right.
And these are the challenges when things come along. And it does cause us to question, because our judgment says, well, this is good, and we know that God is good, and so forth. It struck me profoundly when you said you went to your mentor. And I was thinking about, say, Tiger Woods. Do you realize Tiger Woods has a coach? And that strikes me as odd, because if Tiger Woods has a coach, well, why doesn't the coach play golf? He's obviously better than Tiger Woods. You are the mentor of so many, and yet there are times when the mentor needs a mentor.
You bet.
And I just thought you were the absolute. It's just hard for me to grasp how somebody as far along professionally as you are in your craft has a mentor. You never learn it all. You never know it all. There's a verse in the Bible, when we look at, when we feel like our world, the wheels are falling off, the things are crumbling. And, I can reflect on Job and Daniel and others, Joseph, who went through some trials and came out the other end. And those are very inspiring. But the verse that inspires me the most is the one that says, I'm paraphrasing here, God can restore what the locusts
I have that verse called up. That's I love when God does that. That's the one I have, Coach. I loved. I called that up when I was Googling it, because I couldn't remember what was found, but it's Joel 2:25 and 26. You want me to read it? That's what I thought too. It says, I will restore to you the years that the swarming locusts have eaten, the hopper, the destroyer, and the cutter, my great army, which I send among you. You shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord your God, who has dealt wondrously with you. And my people shall never again be put to shame. God is the restorer, isn't he?
Yeah, it's one thing to restore, back to, but to, it was once said, even God cannot increase last year's harvest. And I got thinking about that. And I think that they were using that as a metaphor to illustrate a point that the past is in the past. But you know what? God actually could increase last year's harvest. He spans time. He doesn't. That's why his name is I Am.
Mm-hmm.
I Am. The other thing that I found profound is Marty was an encouragement to you.
Right.
Because Marty has gone through hell.
Mm-hmm.
And here she is encouraging others.
Oh yeah, that's who she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's she is
today. Yeah.
She is a very, very special person indeed. Okay, so many if you've made your main point, I am amazed at how many of the PJNet family have been nominated or finalists or whatever for awards. And I wanted to take a moment. I don't see her in the chat room, but Kari Greenaway has been nominated. She has this gift. She is a very, very giving person, and she gives of herself because if she wants to do something for somebody, she'll write a poem. And I can remember getting so many of them. But I'm amazed at how many people that we know that we've come in contact. And I was just talking to Lori. The relationships that are formed and are nurtured and grow from these writers' conferences is it's unlike anything I've ever seen. But has the landscape permanently changed? Is it ever going to be like it was, where we all get, a couple hundred of us get together and, spend a few days, or how do you see it in the future?
I don't think we know that answer yet, but I do think if there's a way, we will, because the writing life is kind of a private, can be lonely sometimes because you're doing most of the work by yourself. So we sort of need other people who are, I always say that our tribe, we get each other because we're all kind of off a little bit. We really are. We're a strange bunch, but we understand each other because we have the same struggles and we understand the writer lingo, and we just sort of need to get together every so often and just be, just to share victories and just to sort of celebrate with one another, and then learn together and dine together, just be friends and cut up and laugh and make memories. I think that because of that, that's why we'll have writers' conferences when they're allowed again after the whole COVID thing. And here's the thing. It's not that you can't learn online, because there's many, many courses you can take right now. You could stay up all night and just learn anything you want to learn on the internet. And there's lots of writers' courses, and there's even Serious Writer has the Academy, and you could take a lot of courses there. Many conferences are online. You can take those. I mean, I'm teaching at another virtual conference like in 3 or 4 weeks. I just did one, Arise Esther conference a couple weeks ago, and I'm keynoting at a virtual one at the Kentucky Christian Writers Conference in June. So it's not that those they do have value, and you can do them, from your home in your jammies if you want to. Now, if you're speaking, you need to be dressed from the waist up, but get jammy pants on, I guess. But so there's value to that, and that makes it more accessible to people. But you're still, and even though they have the Zoom chat rooms, and they do it so you can kind of break up into small groups, even in these, they've got all this stuff worked out. It's still not the same as just giving somebody a hug around the neck and being in the same room and looking at them face to face and just having that time. I long for those days again. I think we need those. I think we need each other. And that's why I think when those memories pop up about a conference like the one that was in North Carolina, I commented, and I was like, when it came up in my newsfeed, I went, oh, that's what I did. I was like, oh, I loved that. I just like it. My heart skipped a little bit. I was like, oh, I love that so much because I have such fond memories from that conference. I mean, I got to meet Ben there. Mm-hmm. He shared his children's stories with me, and now I have that book on my shelf. That's pretty cool that I got to see it before it became published. Those are things that happen there, and I know that's where Lori got Dell as her agent. And I just seen so many wonderful things happen. You mentioned it one of the times when I was on here about Andy Clapp we know that he got that his novel accepted by Eva Marie Everson as an editor for the Lighthouse of the Carolinas for her imprint. And I mean, we witnessed all that. I love that we got to be there to see that happen. There's just writers conferences they're just wonderful. And God is, I mean, he's everywhere, but he's definitely at those Christian writers conferences. And there's too many divine appointments and miracles and things that happen. Sometimes it has nothing to do with writing.
That's right. That's right.
Right. And so you just know that you're there on an assignment. And every time I go, I'm like, go, God, go, get him, God, get him. It's just unbelievable the things that happen at these conferences. And sometimes it really has nothing to do with the writing. So I think we'll have them again just as soon as we can. And I'm going to be the first one there.
You have said something that gives me a profound thought that I want to share with you and everybody else. But first, a moment of levity. I am of the opinion that your tripod, or whatever you use, has one leg shorter than the other, because in your old house, I would always have to make an adjustment. Folks, look at the chair railing behind Michelle. And now we will level it out. So you've kept a remnant of the old place and brought it to the new place.
Well, I'm sentimental like that.
Moment of levity. Okay, here's a serious thought. As you were saying that, something occurred to me. There are people, that I've heard this all my life, I don't need to go to church. I watch such and such on television, and I go to, all that. They consume their worship electronically.
Right.
And they use it as an excuse to not go to church, is what they're doing. So it's funny, those same people are echoing the sentiments that you just echoed. It's just not the same, when we used to go get together you can watch a football game on television, but that's not like being there.
Right.
It's funny that they don't see the, at the very least, irony, if not outright hypocrisy of what they're saying. You can't have it both ways, folks. There is something special about corporate unity. There is something. We are social creatures. God made us that way, more so than any other animal. Elephants come close, but anyway, Ben Cooper and I are in a debate over what is the most social animal species, and I know it's elephants. There's no doubt about it. Do you know that elephants will grieve at the death of their siblings and such to the point they die? They die of a broken heart, literally. If one is attacked, the mother usually will stand there and defend it, even though it's dead. But it won't let the hyenas come eat the carcass. Anyway, folks, we are very social creatures, and we're coming full circle to something that was said last hour, is that we need each other. We first need God. Without him, none of us have hope. But we need that vertical component between us and God. But that's not enough. We need that horizontal. A tree that has one deep root is easily fallen, but that deep root gets to the nourishment, the nutrients that it needs. But it's those horizontal roots that make it strong and withstand the winds. And so many winds come along in life. We don't know. In a blink of an eye, your world can change. It's happened to all of us. Michelle, you're such a sweetie. We appreciate it. Oh, by the way, another moment of levity. Think twice before putting a camera in front of a mirror.
Why is that?
Yeah. Well, have you ever seen those, like it's a tunnel? You get a picture of a picture of a picture of a picture. And when you raised your hands a moment ago, we can see it like 2 or 3 times back there.
Woo!
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's behind you. You have an audience behind you. You just don't know it. But if you don't have, I wore white tonight in honor of you because I knew you would wear black, and we're like salt and pepper. We just need,
We match my mirror, and match my earrings, the white and the black. We match it.
It's a good combination, salt and pepper. It is. Okay. Well, Michelle, we appreciate. Thanks for sharing the wonderful time, and we all cherish those moments that we have with family, but it's even better sometimes when others share those moments because it helps us reflect on what's really important in life. And it's not the boxes. That's important, but what's really important is family and friends and God. So wonderful time chatting with you tonight, Michelle. Thanks for taking your time to be here. Have the boxes been unpacked?
We're working on it.
You didn't have to crawl over them to be seated here tonight?
No, I still did. That was still a thing. But the office, I kind of just shut the door on it. I've been working on the rooms that everybody sees. So,
okay.
We're making progress. Yeah.
Get us a picture or pan the camera next time so that we can.
Yeah, I will.
I know from experience. I remember the time you and Bethany. I don't know if you were in Chicago or Tampa, whatever, but you were, bunked up in the hotel room, and you got on camera, and then before we went on the air, you had to go powder your nose or something. So both of you left. And I can see now the scenery behind you, and there's a shoe over here and a towel over there. I'm like, y'all are darling. You're just gorgeous, but it's like, it ain't that's the part you see. So right now, beyond the edge of what you see there is mayhem, I'm sure. So.
You betcha, for sure. Yes, I need a prayer.
All right. Well, Michelle, thanks for sharing with us tonight. We had a lot of fun.
Thanks, you guys.
Right, folks. That's part 2 as we close down. By the way, there's the view from the camera across the way. The bottom half of the screen is actually obscured, is the word, by the monitor that I'm constantly looking at. So it makes you think I'm looking at the camera, but I'm actually looking at what amounts to a teleprompter, not in front of the camera, but behind the camera. That's how it all happens here at pjnet.tv. Well, what a great night it's been. Michelle is always such a lively person and always has something worthwhile to share. And we're going to do this again tomorrow night. Quick update. I'm thinking, I don't think I'll be able to pull it off this Friday. I actually am working Friday at my day job, and I'm off on Saturday. First Saturday I've had off in over a year. But I'm working on something that I hope that we'll be able to do. Is the project of 3D animation is going to be, or is the hardest thing I have ever done. And so what I wanted to do, and I'm still going to try to pull it off this Friday, that we'll kind of set up Friday night as a PJNet update type thing where you can follow along in this journey up this vertical slope, this mountain that we are climbing. A couple of weeks ago, I just showed you a swinging gate that was hastily assembled and is actually riddled with errors that cannot be used. And I have been working every day, hours and hours and hours, to perfect a simple swinging gate. Okay, but the skills that I am acquiring will be used over and over and over again, and I'm just really excited about it. So hopefully we'll be able to, on Friday nights, kind of show you the next step. I actually have the swinging gate, and you can actually paint it different colors. Now I'm working on grass. Now I can make a little bit of grass, but a lot of grass, like JD's farm, gets to be quite a problem. And so hopefully we'll be able to have some fun and kind of let you walk along with me as we go down this journey, this path together. It's probably 6 months before we'll have anything that we can even the simplest and most elementary and the most primitive of things. But we are going down that path, and I could not be more excited. Well, thanks for your long suffering and staying with me through those announcements, and we'll wrap it up for tonight. But before I leave, I am compelled, my conscience compels me to ask you to ask yourself 2 questions. Here they are. What is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ or the kingdom of God? And the next question would be, well, when was that? Let's keep challenging ourselves, folks, and never be satisfied. with either answer.